Today, we remember the Transfiguration of Jesus. It is the time we celebrate the mystery that the light of God's glory was seen in the face of Jesus the Christ. And it happened like this. Jesus and his disciples had been teaching in the villages and the countryside. And Jesus had been saying amazing things. And he had been doing many wonderful things. But people still did not know who he really was. And so one day, Jesus asked his disciples, he said, "Who do the people say that I am?" And the disciples answered, "Some say you are John the Baptist, or Elijah, or one of the prophets. But what about you?" Jesus said, "Who do you say that I am?" "You are the Christ," Peter answered, "the Son of the living God." "You are blessed, Peter, for my Father has revealed this to you. He has shown you who I am." Then Jesus said, "I must go up to Jerusalem for the Passover. And when I do, I will be killed. But on the third day, my Father God will make me alive again." The disciples could not understand what he was saying, and they couldn't believe it. Jesus continued teaching them for 6 more days, and then he went off to a very high mountain to talk to his Father God. And he took with him Peter and James and John. And as Jesus was talking with his Father God, he was transfigured. His face began to shine as bright as the sun, and his clothes became dazzling white. And suddenly, Moses and Elijah appeared beside him. And they began talking to him. And then a cloud came down from heaven and covered them. And a voice spoke out of the cloud and said, "This is my Son, whom I love, and with whom I am so pleased. Listen to him." And the disciples were terrified and trembling with fear. And they fell to the ground on their faces. And Jesus went up to them and touched them and said, James, Peter, don't be afraid. John, don't be afraid. Get up. And they looked up, and they saw that there was no one there but Jesus. And so they stood up. And they followed him down the mountain. Now I wonder what part of this story you liked the best. I wonder how the disciples felt when Peter said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." I wonder how the other disciples would have answered Jesus' question, "Who do you say that I am?" I wonder how they could know that Jesus is the Christ. I wonder how Peter and James and John feel about what they saw up on the mountain when Jesus was transfigured. I wonder what it means to be transfigured. I wonder how Jesus is feeling in this moment. I wonder if this story reminds you of any other story you have heard about Jesus. And finally, I wonder what part of this story is most important.